This is the story of the fall of man. Where did all of this begin? Follow along. God had created this beautiful world at this point, as stated from Genesis chapter 2, verses 4 through 5. However, God didn't cause it to rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground. So God blew a mist upon the ground, and God formed a man from the dirt of the ground and blew into his nostrils the breath of life. Then man became a living soul. So the Lord planted a garden, the Garden of Eden, and placed the man he formed there. And out the ground God grew every tree, pleasant to the eyes, and beautiful in appearance, and good for food. The tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil were in the midst of the garden. And God commanded the man, saying in Genesis chapter 2, verses 16 to 17, "Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die." God also came to the recollection that it isn't God for a man to be alone. "I'll make him a helper, a companion," he says. The man God created was also given the responsibility of naming all that God formed from the dirt of the ground, all the animals of the field and all the birds of the air. Whatever the man called each living creature, that was its name. The man named the cattle, named the birds of the air, named the wild animals, but he didn't find a suitable companion. In Genesis 2, 21 to 23, we see that the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib, which the Lord God had taken from man, made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, "This is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man." Let's delve into this. The importance of the union of man and woman. Woman was not formed out of one of man's many ribs, of which he would not feel the loss. No, she is one side of man, and though he may have several sides to his nature and character, without a woman, one integral portion of him will be wanting. The deeper meaning of the closed up the flesh instead thereof literally implies his flesh was closed up in its place. This does not mean that man now has flesh where before he had this side, but that a cavity was prevented by drawing the flesh on the two edges close together. Metaphysically, it means that man has no compensation for what was abstracted from him except in the woman, who is the one side of his nature which he has lost. Hence, the institution of marriage was created and hereby ordained by God. As stated in Genesis 2, verse 24 to 25, "Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh." 25, "And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed." Wow! That's both eye-opening and fascinating. What happens next? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow our TikTok to find out.